Hi, I'm Neil Sackmary.
Hi, I'm State Trooper Sean Hagstrom with the Nevada State Police Highway Patrol Division, PEIO. Please stay tuned for the next episode of Trooper Talk.
And together, we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with this edition of Trooper Talk. We have so many guests, it's absolutely amazing. Trooper Hagstrom, thank you for being here.
Love it being here.
Sir, please introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do for Nevada State Police.
I'm Trooper Villanueva, Nevada State Police. I am the new sworn recruiter for down here, Southern Command or Region 1.
We're so excited that you're here. And you're going to be joining us weekly now.
I am, yes.
And so we're very, very excited. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean? And sir, please introduce yourself and tell us who you brought with you.
I'm Investigator Bricky with the Nevada State Fire Marshal's Office. I'm an arson investigator. And this is my ignitable liquid detection canine, Charlie. And he's a handful.
and so thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
Let's start off with the fire marshal.
Yes, sir.
So many questions. One of the things that's really cool about the fire marshal is that we announce you every single week, because we say that when you want to be in the Nevada State Police, you can transfer to all these different divisions. And so tell us where you started, and then tell us how you got to the fire marshal, and then tell us how you got to be with the K9, who has this great collar that says State Police. And so just take us through a synopsis.
Sure. I started with DPS and parole and probation about 12 years ago. I worked there for a number of years. I also have some experience with other law enforcement agencies, but I worked my way through parole and probation. I had a lot of fun over there, and I was really on the investigation side. I worked with sex offender unit while I was there, parole unit. I also worked in the mental health court program while I was there, so I got to meet a lot of different types of people. Eventually, I decided that I want to try something a little different. So I put in about 3 years ago for the state fire marshals, because I was always interested in fire investigation as well. And I got hired on over here. When we got hired on over here, it was also with the understanding that we'd have a good boy, a K9, which excited me because I always wanted to do K9 as well. And since then, I've been doing K9 and fire investigation, and we get trained in all kinds of arson investigation and explosive investigation techniques while over here, as well as how to handle and put up with some of these guys.
Yeah, this is fantastic. You can't record this. You know what I mean? Not to say easy, but it's easier, right, to train ourselves than to like train an animal. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but like what I'm trying to ask is, like, when you do your investigation, you can look through books and you can do all this type of stuff, where your canine partner can't do that, so they have to rely 100% on you, right? So take us through what that's sort of like.
It's always best to try to get them to want to do the job, but when it comes to working, he is a food reward dog. So he knows that if he's going to search, his reward comes when he finds his scents.
Okay.
And so what he's always thinking about is, right now he's like, hey Dad, this is why he's acting this way. Can we go work? I want to go get paid to work. And that's what he's trying to do right now, is get paid to work, because he knows the leash is out. And usually when the leash comes out, it means, hey, we're going to go smell some ignitable liquids, and that means I'm getting paid today.
Okay.
So they are pretty much they are driven by hunger, play. Those are the main drives, and hunting. And so we use his hunger drive to reward him. So every time he finds an ignitable liquid, he gets rewarded with a treat.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what he's trying to get to right now. He's trying to get himself paid right now.
It's like, Dad, we have to go.
That's what he's up to.
And then one more question for you.
Yes.
Is that in the normal K9 scenario, your K9 partner has his own area outside, away from family and all that type of stuff, so that when it's time to work, like, it's time to work? Is it the same scenario with your K9 partner?
Not with Charlie, actually. He is part of our family. He's not allowed to be totally a normal dog, because he is very controlled in his diet and how he has to behave. However, he is allowed to interact with our kids. He's not allowed to be treated by anybody by me. So when he hears Dad say it's time to search or to work, then he understands, okay, I have to pay attention now, and this is what I'm doing.
see. Okay.
Because of the nature of him, and he goes on fire scenes where sometimes there's a lot of people moving around.
Yeah.
A lot of distractors. You might have fire engines there. You might have victims or witnesses that are upset or having a hard time controlling their emotions, understandably so. He has to be able to work through those things. So we don't want him to be so fixated by a new person. As you can see, he's very fixated on me. He wants to pay attention to what Dad wants him to do, and where's Dad at? What's Dad doing?
Yeah, of course.
But he has to also be kind of used to other people. He can't see a new person and go like, this is where all my attention's at when we need him to work. So we try to get him around people. We try to get him around dogs. So nothing really phases him in that. And he's very handler driven, where when he's paying attention to me, we can get him to focus on what his job is and like, all right, it's time to work. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
To be in the Nevada State Police family, you have to start out. You have to go to the academy, right? There are transfers from different agencies, right? So it makes it a little bit easier. There's different academies and things like this, right? You go through to become a trooper or parole and probation, right?
Yep.
And then there's so many cool things that the Nevada State Police offers. You have to work,
Right.
okay? You know what I mean? But like, it's wonderful, and like, everybody who comes here is always smiling. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Floor's yours.
So Nevada State Police is, I say, is the best agency to work for in the country. We have so many different divisions that you can work for under the Nevada State Police branch. The fire marshals are just one of the many. We have highway patrol, obviously we have parole and probation, which are kind of our entry level positions when you apply for Nevada State Police, but then you can go and do like Nevada Department of Investigations. So it's kind of like detective work. You're kind of doing a little bit more researching and digging into cases and profiles and whatnot. So it's such a benefit to work for Nevada State Police. It's such a small footprint, I would say, just because of how close we are. Every division is like a family. We all know each other. Even division to division, we all know each other fairly well. I've known Bricky since parole and probation, because that's where my career also started, was parole and probation. So just the DPS family is such a great thing to have.
Yeah, and when it comes to Trooper Hagstrom, like, he was retired.
Right.
He came back. I always make the joke that, he came back and they said, okay, by the way, thank you very much. You're going to be in, in this position. And, oh, by the way, you got to go on this talk show once a week and talk to this guy. Yeah. And it's like, what? But the thing is that it's really wonderful because the camaraderie
Right. Yep.
is something that we see. And so we just did that filming with Channel 13.
Yep.
Right, the major showed up, the captain showed up, the lieutenant showed up. I mean, like, you were there, right? Like it was. No, you weren't there.
I was not there that
Right,
day.
I forget
The time before.
Right. You were here though.
He was here before,
when
the
we
week
did
before.
it here at the
Correct.
studio, right?
Yep.
With Channel 13.
Right.
The thing is that it's wonderful. And so, like, it's a wonderful family to be involved with. And that's something that you talk about every single week. And you can know that when you're not here, he's making you proud. Because he's always talking about recruitment. Right?
Absolutely. And you know what? We are a family.
Right.
We're kind of a small agency as far as, when Highway Patrol, we probably got less than 400 troopers statewide. Right. But like he says, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if we have guys up in Reno or down in Elko or down here. Everybody has that close relationship. Even with parole and probation, we can, we've had Sergeant Clifton on numerous times. These guys all worked with him and
Yes.
everything. Yeah. So even the top supervisors that we've always talked about how close they work with us, close net, because we're like a family, and that's the way we want it, and that's the best thing. It makes us great for Nevada Highway Patrol and just Nevada State Police in general, is the working relationships that we do have every time. One thing I do want to bring up, Neil, is
how cool it is that we got the fire marshal to come.
absolutely.
And he has his truck right outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
That says that. Right?
And you know what? I had to take a picture before he came in so people could see it. You know what I mean? So one of the things I wanted to do is people don't really understand what the State Fire Marshal does, and that's
Yes.
one of the reasons I wanted to bring them in, because
Yes.
you know they investigate arsons, they do safety checks on the state buildings, but there's so much more they do. But I think people really need to hear what they the kind of classes that they have to take in the schooling just to be a State Fire Marshal, in which he can go into,
Yes.
because it's amazing. They have to do a lot of classes ahead of not only being a parole probation officer or a state police officer, but there's all extra classes that they have to do just to be that State Fire Marshal.
I
Go
would
ahead.
love to learn about that. I'm very busy right now. But you can tell everybody else because they're watching. You know, so I know, and I'll talk
Yeah.
to you right now. So,
So,
yeah. I know.
At the State Fire Marshals, in addition to all the standard trooper and police training that we have to go through every year, your first year, you're on an FTO program the full first year. You do, the State Fire Marshal actually hosts and trains the Nevada Fire Investigator 1, which is a nationally recognized program. So you have to complete and get certified in that. We also do FBI post-blast training because we also are explosive investigators. We do post-blast, we do New Mexico Tech training, EMRTC, which is suicide bombing incidents and how to defend and like kind of recreation and different homemade explosive trainings. We also do wildland fire trainings, and one of the big trainings that we go to is the National Fire Academy, which is held in Maryland. And we go through live fire training there, where we end up burning cells and doing investigations to make sure we can get to the source on those cells. So there's a lot of training that goes involved. In addition to that, we also, I said we do wildland training. We have a lot of ongoing training. So once you get past your first year, you're usually in training for about 3 months, and that's just classroom training, not counting the field training and hands-on experience that you get actually in active investigations. We also have the option to, once you kind of get your feet underneath you, to go to things like Slow Fist, which is where we actually have human remains and we learn what fire does to the human body, and different specialty programs. We also, the fire marshals, we're also dual certified as fire inspectors, so we can do hazardous materials inspections and we get trained on hazmat response and things of that nature. So there's a wide variety of training that goes into this position, a lot of different things we do. Just on the investigation side.
And that's not even touching the
this is-
canine.
this is what
you
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean? Because you got extra canine
Right.
training too, but look at all the schools they have to go through, and
My
people don't
mind
even
is-
realize the work that goes into that.
My mind is already spinning.
Yeah.
Well, because the one of the interesting things is that none of this is scripted, right? So we don't come up with questions and all this type of stuff. And so there's so many questions that I have. You know what I'm saying? Because like we had the sergeant from the investigations who talked about the hazmat training and all this type of stuff.
Right.
And so just to know that there's a fire and that you have to sort of find the core of that fire through investigative techniques is really like very, very interesting. Besides even getting to the schooling and all that type of. What did you do growing up that you got into this? That you always were investigative like this?
I mean, I was a crime novel and mystery kind of kid.
Yeah,
I
okay.
enjoyed that. I always enjoyed investigating and finding out, like trying to figure out the whodunits, and
Yeah.
that's a big part of our job. It's not just getting to the source of the fire. So anything with a fire nexus, we will take the criminal case that follows from that. So whether it be insurance fraud, a homicide, if it's a homicide, we'll work it with like NDI or the local municipalities, whoever that might be. Charlie,
and the
he just
thing
went back
is,
somewhere.
Yeah, but the thing is that these type
Good
of
boy.
activities, we wish we lived in a perfect
Yeah.
world, but unfortunately we don't live in a perfect world, and there are activities that happen in the course, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about the fact of that in recruitment, when someone is coming, these are the type of resources that we can call upon
Right.
in the event that something should happen,
Right.
right? And so when it comes to the recruiting end, what type of men and women are we looking for to come and join Nevada State Police?
So we're always looking for people that are wanting to help the just the public in general. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I got started in my career with law enforcement, is because I've always had this passion for having this sense of pride, helping somebody, but as well as meeting people. So just somebody that's personable and understands the human factor of the everyday life. I mean, things happen, people make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that they're not human and that they need help on a day-to-day basis. So we're just looking for people that really want to start a new career and want to go out and help people and understand that this is a very serious profession that you're getting into. It's not something that's taken lightly. I mean, obviously all the schooling that goes into being a fire marshal is extensive, but as well as just being a state police officer, there's a lot of training that goes into that as well. So we want people that are ready for a change and to want to better not only themselves but the state of Nevada.
And you've been in law enforcement for a long time. You could do anything you want. And so you worked with canines, you did the Capitol Police, you know, you did things that are really amazing, that you're able to provide this type of knowledge to people that are just joining. There are people that are just joining the Nevada State Police fresh, that have no law enforcement experience, as well as there are people that are transitioning from different law enforcement to join. And so they look up to people like you because you have such a wealth of knowledge. And so it's something that we talk about all the time on the Nevada, on Trooper Talk. So I want to talk about that. And then I don't want to forget the fact, even though we're very excited that you're here, and that you're here again.
Right.
That we are here because one of the main things that we need to stop is the impairment, is the speeding, is these poly drug things, and all this type of activities that people are dying on our roadways that we need to stop as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Mentorship is very important, you know, and that's why we like a lot of the guys have been on the job for quite a while to help these young guys. And we've talked about this on the show before, and that's what's good about our supervisors, because if anybody has a question anytime, our supervisors are willing to go out there and assist them or help them in a call. When I first started, I started as a deputy sheriff in a metropolitan area just like Las Vegas Metro. And even if you've been on for 5 years and you think you know everything about law enforcement, you don't. Because you might be going into some gang house and they have an 8-foot alligator in the basement that they've been feeding for a while, and you're calling your sergeant saying, Sarge, what kind of, you know you got to call animal control because the guys are going to jail, right? But then you got to figure out, hey, this is something that we're not dealing with every time. So,
That's just water.
Having these sergeants that have been on for a while, and even people that, or other troopers, or even parole and probation officers that have dealt with stuff in the past, we're always able to rely on them to get that information from them, or at least point us in the right direction so we know what to do. And that's what's so great. And almost every law enforcement's like that. We do quite extensive training, doing field training. We get all the 26-week academy that everybody goes through. You got another 6 months of just FTO, and that's field training officer. It rides with you. It's on-the-job training, so you're learning that. But once you get on your own, you're on your own, but there's always going to be something that comes up in questions. I always tell people, I used to think, I've been on 5-7 years, and I know everything there is, because you've done the high-speed pursuits, you've gone to homicide, you've done almost everything that they've taught you in school. But then there's always something that comes up, and you're like, I need a question, and I need to call somebody that's probably been here for a while, or a supervisor to the scene to kind of make those decisions towards the end.
You had a situation with an alligator?
I did. You really did? Yeah. This is very funny. And you think it was in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places, right?
No, but I'm saying that's very funny.
But I've ran into all types of scenarios, and it's just crazy. I mean. I've also been in pursuits where we've gone into 3 states. You know what I mean? They've allowed it, but the person get arrested was a person that was on a NASCAR circuit thing. You know what I mean? So,
that's an interesting situation.
And then not only that, I mean, being in Las Vegas, because we're the entertainment capital of the world, you know, there are famous people that come out and party, and there's people that do get arrested too. You know what I mean? You have to deal with that. So,
Yeah.
you know, you got to call a supervisor because you know there's going to be press, there's going to be a lot of stuff, questions and answers coming out of that. And those are just the things that you have to deal with when you're working out on the streets.
Yeah,
So,
it's fantastic. Well,
yeah.
thank you again, gentlemen. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Your dog is very powerful, like very strong. But you know, you think about that, like, you know, to get through all these type of things, you know, I mean, my little dog is very small. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I'm going to tell you. We used to just talk during Trooper Talk, and then what we found is that by showing pictures, it actually enhanced what we do. So, and I don't look at the pictures, just like I told you I don't talk before,
Yes.
right? So let's see what they got for us today. Okay. So, in this blurry picture,
Yeah, that is kind of blurry, Johnny.
great job. Let me ask you a couple questions.
Yes.
So, take home car.
Correct.
Okay. The back is the special fans and and all this type of stuff, so that your dog can be in there and everything like that, right?
Correct. He has a 3/4 kennel on the back that has emergency fans. It also has a heat sensing system in it. So, because we service primarily rural Nevada. So we'll be out in Pahrump, Tonopah, Ely, those kind of locations, maybe with no cover or shade. So we're on a fire scene that could be 10, 16 hours, just depends on whatever needs to be done. And sometimes he's sitting in the car a lot, so we need to make sure that that car's not getting too hot for him.
Yeah.
So it actually has a sensor in his kennel that will drop the windows if it gets too hot, so he's taken care of and he's a healthy dog. So
And you carry food and water,
Correct.
and all this type of and all this type of stuff.
correct.
Do people drive past you at 100 miles an hour all the time?
They try.
But the thing is that even though it says fire marshal, right? You know, and somebody might not. You don't have a light bar.
I actually have low vis lights. So inside my visor, there's lights. I have
There's
lights.
the lights.
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have the light bar on the top.
No.
All right. So, and so you have, so people understand. You work for Nevada State Police.
Correct.
And so, if you witness a person who is driving past you or doing some type of activity that they shouldn't be doing,
Charlie.
that means that you have the authority to call someone, pull them over, you know, all these type of things. It's not a funny thing. That you take this very, very seriously. Like, we can laugh and we can joke and all this, but when it comes to business, just like you said with your dog, your canine, right? It's business, right? And that's something that you can do, right?
Correct. So normally we try to let the normal patrol agencies handle traffic, but sometimes when we're driving between rural scenes, we might be the only law enforcement out there. So I can tell you a number of times where they see my truck and they're not quite sure what I am, and understandably so, and they see fire marshal on the side.
Right.
But the back will say state police or law enforcement, so they're
Yeah.
like, who is that and what's going on?
Right.
So they start playing the game, and normally, as long as people are being respectful and driving at a safe speed, I don't get involved. If somebody's it has a wreck or something, we might be we'll pull over to assist or whatever it might be. But if somebody decides to partake in reckless driving, we will pull them over. We will do stops. We can issue citations, or if we have a life safety issue like a DUI or whatever that might be, we can get involved. And we do get involved sometimes with those kind of things. We will always rely on our sister agencies. Highway Patrol is a great resource for us because they know the road like nobody else, and we will call them out, and they're always happy to help us. And same thing, when sometimes they get a suspicious car fire, they'll call us out. So that's one of the best things about being part of DPS is I am not a highway specialist. I've been trained in all normal police procedures and pursuits and high-risk stops and things like that, but it's not what my everyday is. My days are focused on hazardous materials and fires. So I don't do a lot of police stops as far as traffic stops, but when I do find myself needing to take action in that way, I have Highway Patrol there to help me out. And so a lot of people like to play the game sometimes, like, oh, well, you're not law enforcement. I was like, you're a fireman. I'm like, no, I'm a state police officer.
No, and that's what I'm saying, because you know you see the the fire pickup trucks like yours that drive down the road, right? And you know, people drive up to them and they go, "Oh, that's the fire guy." You know what I mean? And it's like, no, this isn't the way that. And so it's very important that people know that in the state of Nevada, that there are different cars and trucks and motorcycles and things that you would not normally think is a typical law enforcement car, right? But it can uphold the law.
Correct.
Go.
Yeah, correct. So not even just with our agency, but our sister agencies in town, Metro, Las Vegas Metro, they also have a bunch of unmarked vehicles that you wouldn't even expect to be a law enforcement officer in that vehicle until they turn those lights on. You're like, how the heck is this Volkswagen Jetta a law enforcement officer? But they have cops that are stationed in all kind of vehicles. But yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, that our fire marshals are also state police, and they can take action and take enforcement on anything that is unnecessary and a little bit reckless as well.
And we also had the vehicles with the ghost markings.
Yeah.
That's one of the
As well,
reasons
yeah.
that we went to ghost markings,
Yeah.
which was great because people blow right by you and
Right.
you don't notice it, but
Yep.
they're marked vehicles. You just don't see it as well. Right. You know what I mean? Which is great.
Which is fantastic, and which, you know, I was going down a road of the fact of that with different types of vehicles, that people need to be aware, right? And so when we went to Channel 13 the other day, you said, "Oh, you know, this guy blowing past at 108." You know, I mean, we had LiDAR from people going crazy speeds again, and so one of the things that I know definitively is that with the cold weather, the tire does not stick as much as the warm weather. Not that that gives anybody any reason to speed during the summer, but you do have better traction on your car than a cold road at 28 degrees. And so people don't care. They still drive fast. They still drive impaired, you know, and so it has to stop. And so it's one of the things that we talk about all the time, but is so important, right?
And that's one of the things that we're going to end up posting later on too, because last few days, our NHP motors have been out on the 215 up in the Northwest and out in the West, out by Summerlin, and they've been sending me in some photos, you know, on what they're getting on the LiDAR, 108, 106. It's 65 miles per hour. You know, these are reckless drivers, and we're still getting them. You know, I told you last week, I had 2 days in a row. I got 106 and 108 also just in the Mustang that I drive. And it's just crazy. They just blow right by. They don't notice my vehicle till it's too late,
Yeah,
some of
this
them.
is what it's,
And they get educated on it, right?
Yeah, right.
But this is what's going to be great because we do have a video up here I want to speak about with some, once you get it up. Let's see here.
This one?
Yes, I want to educate the public
Yes,
a little bit
educate
about
the
this is a
Oh, we taught the traffic
we
break.
did a little bit
Yes.
last show, but
Yes.
I actually wanted to show a video because sometimes it's easier to explain by showing a video. But this actually came in as a complaint somebody sent to me, went to our supervisors, and
Should we
matter
watch
of
the
fact,
video?
our major responded to this person about it because some people don't understand. They thought they thought they were abusing their authority. The state trooper was abusing their authority by having their lights on going across all the interstate lanes. And this is why I want to explain what an NHP traffic break is. We'll watch it and then we'll go over it.
Let's go over that.
Yep.
Why is this cop zigzagging across the freeway?
Now I'm gonna explain while this is going on.
Yeah, go.
So the reason that we do traffic breaks, and it kind of seems odd, but this is the only way that we can slow down traffic or actually stop them. So we have to put our emergency lights on. We're going from the far right lane to the left lane, and we're slowing down as we're doing it. And this is actually creating a traffic break. Even though, and the reason that we do this is that there's either a large piece of furniture or a ladder in the roadway, or something hazardous that we don't want people to get involved or have other crashes, okay? So this, even though they might not see the other officer is like a couple miles up the road, actually removing the debris or whatever so we don't have a major crash at people going 65, 80, 100 miles an hour and crash and have numerous crashes or even cause serious injuries or fatal down the road. So this is the reason that we do traffic breaks, and I just wanted to show this video to the public to show them that, hey, when you see an officer with their lights on and they start going from all the lanes and everything, start slowing down and get prepared to stop, because that means there's a hazard up ahead. People just don't understand. They thought they were just abusing their authority and putting lights on going on. And we get complaints like this, but they don't understand what's really going on, and we're actually providing safety for all these people in the back. And I'm glad that I was able to pull this video off. This was just last week. And I wanted to talk to people about this is why we
the
do
traffic
things.
break.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, I mean, not to be silly, but if you have 3 lanes, and I'm sure if a trooper was in the middle lane going 60 or 70 miles an hour with his lights on, you would still get people blowing past him at 100 miles an hour.
It happens all the time.
Not even caring.
Yeah.
So real, for the real understanding the fact that this is the only way
To get all the traffic to slow
to
down.
allow
Yep.
people go.
And even with traffic breaks this way, you'll still get people that try to squeeze by you, and you're like, are you not understanding that I'm trying to slow everybody down? People will still try to squeeze by you as you're trying to break that traffic, and it's insane that people don't understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Oh, and Neil, I got some good stories.
Yeah,
here.
I want to hear.
You know what?
wanna hear this.
When you see a patrol car sideways in the travel lane with cones all the way out,
Yes.
maybe that road is blocked, right?
You don't
Potentially.
drive over them?
I still have people come up and ask, "Can I get through here?"
Yeah. Can I go?
And I'm thinking, do you understand that this is why we have cones
I
and
thought
lights
that's why
out
you
here?
have a big truck, so you
Yeah.
just drive over the
Right.
cones.
No, but this seriously
That's not what
happens.
happens?
This seriously what happens. Yeah, I just
I
don't
mean,
get it.
you know,
but we try our best, to provide the safety and make sure everybody's safe. But we still have people that want to go around it or whatever. And there's a reason that we're doing this, is to protect you and everybody else from getting it, injured or in harm's way, whatever's up ahead.
Yeah,
So,
and the thing is that we laugh and we joke and all this type of stuff. You both see it, and you see it from a different angle, where I can only possibly fathom. Like, I always ask everybody when they come on here. I go, "So what's jail like?" And they always look at me like, "Why? I was never there." And I'm like, "No, I'm not asking for that reason." So people understand, right? But like, I could only possibly fathom the scene or the smell. I love your little dog, so cute. or the smell of burnt human flesh, right? Like, we know what the burnt plastic smells like, and it smells disgusting, right? So to know that, like, you have to go into place X, right? And you have to go in there, and the scenes that you see, like we talk about all the time, right? How about the smells? I mean, like, I never even thought about the fact that, I think it was, what was it, like 8,000, a normal person sees a horrific event like, once or twice or 3 times.
in their
and-
lifetime.
In their
We see it
lifetime.
in one day.
Right. So like,
sometimes.
it's like 800 times for a trooper, right? But I never, and like one of the coolest things about the Trooper Talk is we learn something each time, right? So I never even thought about the fact that you have to go to a place that you smell.
And you never forget those smells.
Never.
And you never forget the screams of people that are actually, that you can't save. And
Yeah,
that goes
so-
through your mind and your head too, because you want to do everything to save them. And sometimes it's just not, you're not able to.
How do you reset?
So far in my experience, and I didn't come into law enforcement as a young man. I was 28 when I started, so I already had some life experience behind me. And that's not saying seeing any of these things is easier. It always has an effect on you when you see somebody in pain or somebody that see somebody that's lost their life to fire or an accident or something of that nature. And it's even worse when you see the family and how they're now having to deal with the loss of their loved one. I've been fortunate so far in my career that I haven't had many incidents that involved younger people, children. Those are the ones I have a hard time with. Adults are easier for me to handle. I'm able to keep my wits about me a little bit more. But it's hard when you see kids, and I have kids of my own, and you can't get that image out of your head. Those are the ones that kind of keep me up at night sometimes. But fortunately, I make sure that I know I'm there to help. That's what I think of first and foremost. Any scene that I'm going to, I'm there to help people. I'm there to either catch the bad guy that did this. I'm here to give your family some sense of closure so you know what occurred to your family member, so you have answers within the best of my ability. I always try to make myself available to them, and I can't tell you how many times I've been on scenes where people have lost loved ones. And they've thanked me afterwards because, like, hey, you've been here really professional and you've answered all my questions, and you made it something that I can understand. Yeah. And that's really good to hear, and that helps me get through those scenes too, because I, just like Officer Villanueva said, is that we all started this to help people. We all got in this, I believe, for the right reasons. And I would say with my specialty at the fire marshals, a lot of the times people see us as there to help. We're not always seen as, maybe the bad guy to them coming up where we're issuing them a citation, or we're doing some kind of action that negatively affects them. We're able to sit there and give them answers and be able to be there for them, explain things in a way that they understand. And I think people really do appreciate that. You can't make everybody happy all the time. That's just the way of life. But being able to do those things helps me get through those things as well. And like Trooper Hagstrom said, you never forget the smells, you never forget the sights. But I think the context on it helps a lot as well.
And there are tragedies that are on highways when it comes to vehicle fires. And some of those things are caused by crashes, by people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And so again, when it comes to working as the fire marshal in that context, these are horrific scenes that you don't want to see either or smell.
Correct. It's never fun to go on. It's never fun to go on scene and see or smell things that you weren't necessarily planning on seeing that day. It's never easy. It's never something that you want to have happen. I will say that on a lot of fire scenes, especially with today's modern materials, I would think maybe probably troopers have a harder time with that kind of stuff when you're seeing abandoned vehicles on the roadway where somebody may have passed away in. For us, everything smells like plastic. Everything's made of plastic nowadays. So it's the overwhelming smell of burning plastic and rubber, even in a house fire.
Because everything's made
Most modern materials are made of plastic, and they go up like that.
And a lot of things people don't understand. Nevada has placed a heart and lung bill for us, for firemen and cops, because a lot of these car fires that we have, there's like 3,000 carcinogens that can cause cancer and everything. And we're going up to these scenes when they're fully engulfed, and even when you walk through after, it's still in the air. Yeah. I mean, it's terrible because you have all that plastic metals, everything.
Rubber and
it all goes up, and it's just not good for your health.
Not good.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And this is what you can do if you choose, right?
Right.
To work for the Nevada State Police, right? And so, you're not locked into an office that has a door. And some people like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I see danger, I'm running the opposite way. I want to be behind the cinder block wall. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that.
Right.
But for people that want to pursue this, it's not easy.
Nope.
And so there's polygraphs, there's written tests, there's physical tests, there's mental tests. I mean, like, if there's a test, there's a test, right? And so because Nevada State Police wants the very best.
Correct.
Tell us.
Yeah, so you're absolutely correct. It's not an easy process to get started in general, but even after you make it through the initial stages and you get to the academy stage, you're going to be going through a lot of training, a lot of learning material, and even after that, you're not done learning after you get done with the academy. Just like Trooper Hagstrom said, you're learning on a day-to-day basis. I mean, doing the cool stuff is really cool, but you have to build yourself to get to that point. And like you were saying earlier, it's difficult to go on these scenes and to deal with all of the stuff that we deal with, but it's more of a mental preparation and getting yourself ready. Like he said, it's you're not ready for it, but if you prepare yourself enough, you're able to handle it a little bit easier as the time comes. But yeah, there's so many cool things that you're able to do with the Nevada State Police, and there's always something different that you're able to do. If you get tired of one thing, if like I was at parole and probation for 4.5 years. I just wanted something a little bit different. I love parole and probation. I just wanted to change a pace and see what else was out there, so I transferred over to the highway patrol side. But we have so many divisions and so many different specialty units that you can work throughout Nevada State Police. So it's really cool, the stuff that we're able to get into and the people that we're able to work with. It's a lot of fun.
It's a really rewarding career, actually.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because even though we've talked about some of this, hey, we see some of these bad things and everything, just knowing that you help somebody or save somebody's life down the line just makes our day. And like I said, I couldn't be more specific than saying this is a very rewarding career. And that's why it takes a specific person to get into this job. And we do it because we love it and we want to help others out there.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, too, one of the things that's really cool about the Nevada State Police is that they have a minimum age to join.
Right.
Right? And one of the cool things is that, which I want to get into, they have a minimum age to join, and you can, at 20 and a half, start your paperwork so that at 21 you can go to the academy as long as everything's done. They have a transition from the military, right? That they're trying to get as many good people as they can. And, I come back to Trooper Hagstrom's, I think it was your neighbor, right? That said that he might have been interested in joining. Had no law enforcement experience, and he wasn't young.
Right.
But he was like, can I do this? And it was like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you can pass these tests, if you can meet the physical and the mental requirements and all this, we're interested, right?
Yeah, and that's the great thing. You don't have to have any law enforcement experience if you want a change of career. If for whatever reason you wake up one day and you want to better your life and get a serious career going, absolutely join. We will teach you how to be a cop, and we will teach you how to be safe and go out there on the streets and help these people and conduct your everyday to day business. There's nothing saying that you have to have law enforcement experience at all. We will help you get that experience.
And plus, you get your own take-home car.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're not using your own car, and that's a big benefit nowadays. I mean, with gas prices and everything else, and not only that car, being a state trooper, and I'm just using that, and parole and probation, I believe they have their own cars too.
Right.
But that's your own office. Nobody else uses your car. You go to a big agency, big metropolitan agencies, anywhere in the United States, and when they get done with the shift, they're switching out cars. You're putting your stuff, you're driving your personal vehicle there, you're taking your personal stuff out, putting it in a vehicle. You always want to get there early so you can get a better pick of the vehicles, right?
Yeah.
I know that from experience, and know the people that are driving them, right?
You guys smiling, you guys know.
So you want to get you have to, and then you got to check out all your gear and put it in there. Where we already have our rifles, our shotgun, all of our stuff set up. And what's nice about our NHP garage, we have our own garage. They'll set up your mic how you want it. They'll set up a lot of things that a lot of stuff is standard, like radios and where the shotgun and rifles are going. But if you want certain things put in certain ways, like your radar and all this other stuff, they'll specifically do it to where you want it. So that's very unique in its own. But just having your own office and nobody else using your vehicle, you're responsible for it, but it's yours and nobody else touches it.
And I think
which
one
is
of
nice.
the biggest benefits too is where a local agency, where you might be working 10 hours, however, the hour before shift, you have to get to the office. You have to change. You have to, like Trooper Hatch was saying, you have to go put all your stuff into the car, work your 10 hours, get done. Another hour after shift, you have to take all your stuff off, get all your stuff out of your gear. So 10 hours turns into 12, right? However, for us, if you're starting at noon, you leave your driveway at noon, and that's your start time. You don't have to go to the office. You don't have to check in with anybody. You're starting at noon, and then at 10 o'clock when you're off, you are off once you're in your driveway. And that's it. You don't have to
Yeah,
check
you're
He's
hitting
learning-
off by the radio. Oh, he is.
He's learning already, right?
He's
He already got
studied
that
that,
one. See, this is already fantastic.
He's got it down.
Right,
Yeah.
you know
He's
what I
going to be a
mean?
great recruiter for us. He's going to be great.
But this is the thing that he talks about. You
Right,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like like it's funny because Trooper Hikestrom and I, when we talk, we have this thing where I'm always like, listen, it's the impaired driving and
Right.
this, and then for him it's always the recruiting,
Right.
right? When we had Officer McClarty on, it was like it was cool because Officer McClarty would come in from the parole and probation, but
Right.
then he would always talk about the recruiting because we need to get as many people as we can that are good, qualified people to join.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the things that he always says, which is, listen, when you work your 10 hours.
And that's it.
And that's it. You know what I mean? And so, but this is fantastic. I'm glad that we talked about the traffic.
Yeah, and I'm going to try
we-
to do more of these as
No,
we go for
right.
the public because
We have
some
to
things
explain.
they don't understand,
Right.
and I want the public to know. And this is part of your show too, is to educate the public.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we want to do what's best for them. But
Yes.
a lot of people don't know what a traffic break. When they come from small towns, they've never seen anything like this in the big city. You know what I mean? So we have to educate people on certain things.
All right. Nevada Highway Patrol is proud to recognize our senior trooper and senior sergeant.
Now, Johnny pulled this up, and I apologize, but
Tell me.
I don't know these troopers' names. This is probably up in the Reno area.
Yes.
But when they mean a senior trooper, that means this person's been on forever. I mean, he's like the first 10 plate numbers is for like the director and like majors and staff members.
Okay.
And then this person would be the next trooper, just a trooper that's working the roadway. He would be the most senior troop in all of Nevada. So they're recognizing that most senior troop and also the most senior trooper. I mean sergeant for the deal. So so those are two of the most senior people in the whole state of Nevada, and we're really proud that they've been on. I'm sure he's been. I could tell he's been. Let me see here.
Count all the stripes.
At least 28. At least 28
more,
years.
He has more.
Nope, same. 20,
Same.
So he's been on at least 28, 30 years. So, and congratulations. He's been on for quite a while. So.
Right.
So Sergeant Donaldson,
Right.
okay, is a legend. Okay, the customer comes into the store, and it was her daughter is the chief of police or the assistant chief of police in Washington, where he's from,
Right.
and they watched Trooper Talk. And so they came, the mother and father came in and said, oh, thank you for what you do, the Trooper Talk, it's fantastic. And they said, Trooper Donaldson, because this was before he was a sergeant, they said, Trooper Donaldson, she knows, and he's a legend in Washington.
How funny.
And he got more DUIs and
Yep.
arrested more people, and not out of ego or you know what I mean.
Right.
Like this is what he
does.
Correct, yeah.
right? And so anyway, seeing things like this, right? When you're good at what you do, right? Your reputation follows.
Right.
And so when we talk about senior sergeants, senior troopers, they love what it is that they do, and they just want to continue. And so, like, when it came to Sergeant Donaldson, right, he's now able to teach the younger troopers, like, listen, if you even want to try to compete with me, you better work even harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Some
saying?
elbow
But,
grease, yeah.
but like, this is who we want to look up to, right? Like, like everybody wants to look up to something that is in a positive nature, and so this is something that from a leadership perspective, which is something the leadership of Nevada State Police has that they do carry all the way down. This is wonderful stuff because this is something to look up to. And this is what, not to say regular people, but people that are not in the law enforcement, that they should look up to people like this because they've dedicated their life to serving to protect what it is that they believe in.
And Sergeant Donaldson, just to add on to that, what a mentor.
Yep.
I mean, this guy, when he came from Washington, I mean, not only is he a go-getter, he knows his job because he was phenomenal in Washington. And we were so glad to get him as a lateral to come over here. Well, actually, he's retired and then came over and wanted to work for us. But he, you know, within, how long has he been on the department, you think, for us?
Maybe a year and a half, reaching 2 potentially.
Within 2 years, he's already Trooper of the Year. I mean, and it's not because of DUIs and stuff. I mean, he had 228 DUIs last year. Unbelievable. You know, we 365 days a year. You know what I mean? And he's not on every night. You know, they work 4 nights. You know, and that's incredible. Sometimes he's getting 2 or 3 DUIs, and then also, he's been on our show, and he got done with like a second or third DUI coming on.
Third DUI.
Yeah. So.
And he felt bad that he showed up 20 minutes late, but he was stuck at the jail.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, now he's a sergeant.
Yeah.
What a great mentor. He's also increased his squad's average, is, you know, going out there and doing the work.
Yeah.
But he's a positive mentor because he works with his people. You know, he gets them fired up, and he and if they have any type of question or they need help, he's right there.
Yeah.
And those are the type of people that we want on the job. You know, he's like a perfect example. And a matter of fact, a couple of shows ahead of us, he's going to be back on because we're going to bring him
love
back
it.
on.
And he can
we
talk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sergeant Donaldson, you know what I mean?
And he's very, very well spoken. He's very
100%.
well spoken,
and
knowledgeable.
has that knowledge.
Very knowledgeable.
Talk to me about non-sworn positions for Nevada State Police.
Right.
They do that stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we have a lot of non-sworn positions at both Highway Patrol, Parole and Probation. There's a lot of clerical work that goes on the back end of the law enforcement side that a lot of people don't recognize. And we have a lot of civilian staff, is what we call
Civilian,
them.
that's the word.
Civilian staff, but non-sworn is also
Right.
correct. Yeah, civilian staff that assists us with reports or paperwork or the subpoenas and stuff that come in from the courts, but as well as dispatching. We have a very big shortage of dispatch right now, which is a huge safety concern for all of the officers and troopers that are out on the road. We're hurting right now for dispatchers, and we would love to fill those positions as well. But as well as our civilian staff over at Highway Patrol and Parole and Probation that are assisting us in our report writing and crash reports and whatnot.
Yeah, one of the things I always say too, Neil, and I always put it out there is, if you want to be involved in law enforcement but don't want to be law enforcement, look at coming to be a dispatcher. And one good thing that we have here is that we can actually have you sit down with the dispatcher for the day and see if it's a job that you like. And we also do that as a trooper in parole and probation. You can do ride-alongs to see if this is a job. Not many jobs do that, where you can just go
Get a
and
test
ride
drive,
along and kind of test drive the job to kind of see if this is really for you. So if you would ever be interested maybe in a civilian position or even sworn, you could go to nevadastatepolice.com, nevadastatepolice.com, and look for the listings that we have availabilities for that. We're always hiring parole and probation in Nevada Highway Patrol right now, and we are looking for dispatchers at this time.
You can look on our on our collar and it says State Police.
Correct.
It's like the
Absolutely.
coolest
I'd
thing
like
ever.
to
Yeah.
actually interject there too.
Yes, tell me.
The Fire Marshal's Division actually has far more non-sworn than we have sworn officers. Because the Fire Marshal's not just investigations, and I like to throw some of my coworkers some love.
Yes,
they're gonna-
I want to hear. I want to hear.
Right, yeah.
And their plan,
Yes,
They were waiting for this.
I wanna hear all
their
about-
plan is to increase their
Correct.
department
Just
down
so
the road.
you know,
Yeah.
let me just tell you, you're throwing them under the bus because, see, that person over there is going to make them come on. So, yeah, throw them under the bus now. Yeah, tell us all about them.
So
What are their names now?
Charlie.
they outnumber us tremendously. Charlie, come on.
Charlie. I just don't want to get in.
His name's Charlie. No, no, but we actually have fire and licensing life safety division. Their job is to basically help plan and approve large fire safety programs, like for schools and hospitals and things like that, the fire suppression systems they're in. We also have a licensing and permitting bureau that does the permitting and licensing for either hazardous materials, as well as the licenses for the people who work on sprinkler programs and things like that. The fire performers, firework performers, things of that nature. We also have a training division. So the fire marshal is responsible for a whole bunch of training for fire departments here in Nevada. And we do fire officer training, and those guys do a great job bringing training, especially out to the rural communities where we don't have large municipal agencies that handle those things. So there's a tremendous number of non-sworn jobs within the fire marshal division that work very, very hard and do a great job at what they do and provide services to all of rural Nevada, as well as the municipal agencies here in town. Sorry, I always get distracted by the dog. Got to keep my eye on what he's doing.
And they work for Nevada State Police.
They work for Nevada State Police
as a civilian
in fire marshal. Yep.
in the fire marshal.
Correct.
So again, another person who that might be looking to be interested in that, that we can get in there for recruiting.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely, yeah.
and again, maybe that doesn't mean you want to have a firearm and
Charlie.
do all these type of activities, but you still feel the love for the law enforcement, and you would still love to help in every way, and things like that, right? That's what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah.
They still have that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've always wanted to be a part of serving their community, which is
Right.
great. Absolutely.
I get the dog is so. I mean, her paw. I mean, his paws.
His boss.
He's got a lot of energy.
It's
a lot of hunt drive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great. That's what you need for.
This is it's
dog
really
like
amazing, and I love to see it. And like each time we have the dogs come on, we had the bomb sniffing dog, right? And
Sawyer.
So, and so like, cool,
Yeah.
right? And so you don't think like, again, you think Nevada State Police. Oh, it's one guy, one woman. They're driving around in a car. They have nothing better to do. They just want to pull me over. Why don't you go bother somebody else? And this is not the case. And so there's love, there's passion, and unfortunately, there are things that need to be investigated. And so it's great to know that the Nevada State Police is trying to do the very best, and that they're bringing in different types of technologies to figure out what it is that they do. So no, it's fantastic. All right, we want to congratulations to them too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Oh, look at this one.
Why?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Let me explain this video. Without naming any names and without saying what type of electric car the person was driving, one of the cool things about this particular electric car is that they have
Onboard camera.
onboard cameras. Okay? And so a certain individual who will remain nameless, but we have authorization to use this video. You can clearly see the person has the green light.
Correct.
Yep.
And this person ran the red light.
Just runs it.
It's a failure to yield.
Yeah.
So they're making a left-hand
Failure to
turn, and they failed to yield the right of way
Yes.
and caused the crash because they had the right of way all the way.
All day.
What was really nice is,
Yes.
and we always tell, and I get quite a bit of this coming into my office.
Yes.
People have videos from their cars. More people are getting videos,
Yes.
which saves them
Yes.
and also helps our troopers and investigators when it comes to these crashes. So what's really nice is once the trooper arrived, the unknown person that we know here
Right.
was able to provide that videotape, and it shows everything. Video doesn't lie. I mean, it's right
shows
there.
everything. And
Absolutely.
again, as part of, as this is probably part of some form of active investigation or whatever it might be, so we don't want to divulge.
Sure.
But the thing is that there's a lot of things in a video that we get to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to driving in Las Vegas, road rage, distracted driving, people pulling a firearm in the air because somebody's cutting in front of them. You know, we want to think these activities never happen, but they do. And so it's really wonderful to know that in certain applications that there are people with cameras and things like this, because if it was not for this specific camera showing that the car was in the green light traveling and that a car went like this, then it's, I didn't run the red light.
Right.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And, you know, who knows what was happening. You know
Yeah, but
what I mean?
with our troopers are good enough with the crash scene investigation to see where the actual crash occurred. They could tell that that's what happens.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's instances where he said, she said kind
Yeah.
of things, and
Right.
it kind of gets kind of difficult with some investigations.
Yes.
But the way this lined up with the way the cars
Yes.
crashed, it's merely you can tell who was at fault at that time.
And people
but
run
that
red lights.
actually helps absolutely
And,
all
and,
the
and,
time.
and the other thing I want to point out is this. This was a normal road, right? This wasn't a freeway. And so I thought Nevada State Police was only allowed to be on freeways. This
That's
is
what
not-
people
th-
say.
This is
That's
not
what they
the
think.
case, right?
No, we're statewide. Every highway, every road, we can enforce all state laws, regulations, city ordinances throughout the entire state. And what I tell people is, you know, if I needed to go up to Reno and write tickets, make arrests and everything, I could do that tomorrow. And one thing good about state police, like for state troopers, sometimes if a sheriff's office isn't available, let's say we're in Battle Mountain or a smaller rural area, we have to handle it. So that's why we get trained in all police procedures as far as like domestic violence. If we have to go to somebody's house because they don't have a sheriff's department that's available or something, we have to take care of that because we are the state police. So especially in rural communities, we get used more than people think. I've been backing up Metro and other people because some of our backups are 45 minutes away. You know, I worked in a 300-mile area, and we rely on other allied agencies, and they rely on us to assist them when we have different situations, whether it's a crash or domestic violence or anything else that's coming about. So a big shout out to those people that work in the rurals, and especially the allied agencies that help us out every day.
Yeah, because and that's what Nevada State Police does, and it's just the most wonderful place. You know what I mean? I was hoping there would be one more picture, but there wasn't. But I was going to tell you that I had good news for you.
Oh, what's that?
You ready? You know what this? Hold on. Oh, we can watch it again.
Watch again.
Oh yeah, look at this.
And I'm assuming they probably had one of those yellow flashing lights,
Potentially.
but they weren't paying attention. You know, and they do have road construction, but you can see the lights coming. Purely, they're probably distracted. I don't want to speak for them. We
Right,
don't know what happened, but merely, I mean, they're at fault because it's failure to yield the right of way, and they caused the crash right there.
The video does not
Not
lie.
lie,
In
absolutely.
certain applications is
Yeah.
what it is that is what it is that they say. You know what I'm saying? And there's the wonderful state trooper, and there he is right there, and they're handling the scene, and that's what's very important. You know what I'm saying? All right. So what I was going to show you was the picture was. That means that it's over. That means you survived.
I survived.
So now you have to go back and you have to tell everybody that you work with, oh, by the way, I threw you under the bus.
Yep.
And Trooper
You're
Hagstrom's
next.
going to be contacting you, and you're next. You know what I'm saying?
No, it was a lot of fun to be on here.
Let's finish with a couple things. First of all, again, it means the world to me. It means the world to him. I'm sure that it means the world to you that you take the time and that you come here. It's something that we've been trying for the past little bit because we always want to show the different sides of the Nevada State Police and show what it is that you can do if you choose to. And so it's really, really wonderful. And we thank you for the opportunity. You know what I
thank-
mean?
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. You get to see what living with one of these boys is like.
Yeah,
some
look
days.
at them.
But no, it's a
High power
great gift to
energy.
be up
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
For you, sir, we look forward to you coming on, every week. And, the important thing that we're going to be discussing is, recruitment. How to
Right.
get more good people here.
Right.
How do we talk about parole and probation? How do we talk about all these things? So we're very thankful for you and your new position. And we hope that you're here for a little bit before you transfer, and just like everybody else that comes to, that hangs out with us for a little bit.
Oh,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Moving up, different
Yeah.
jobs.
Right, you know
I'm
what I'm saying?
excited
But,
for it.
I have a little bit of time before I can move around, and I'm very excited to be on and to get more people on with us, because we have the best in Nevada State Police, and we want to continue that. So
And one good thing that
Yeah,
we have, not only is he the recruiter, we can when we talk about parole and probation and we have questions, he's already been in it and knows every avenue about it. But for the public out there, if you ever thought about law enforcement or want to check it out, go to nevadastatepolice.com.
Right.
We're currently hiring, and we would love to either take you on a ride along or assist you if you have any questions or anything. You can contact this fine gentleman here,
Yes.
and he'll be more than happy to help
absolutely,
you
yeah.
out there.
I've already
So-
been making so many phone calls explaining to people because there's a lot of people that don't understand what highway patrol is or parole and probation is. So I am more than willing to sit down and explain to them what it is on a day-to-day basis that we do every day. And then what you're able to get into, like Investigator Bricky over here does on a day-to-day basis, and all the cool stuff that state police gets to get into.
One more question before we go.
Yeah.
The next time that you're doing the
We're at-
group,
The physical testing and
group
resident
yeah,
testing,
the physical testing.
that'll be February 8th, so not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, and
February 8th. What
Fe-
time?
then at 7:30.
And that's at the new headquarters.
Not yet. We're still at our old one on Renaissance Drive.
Okay.
And then we have a secondary testing on February 22nd, and then we haven't scheduled our March dates just yet. But February 8th and February 22nd are our next physical testings and written testings.
Okay, fine. All right, perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate it. All right, now we just got to wave at the camera right here. Yeah.
All right.
Say,
Thank
see you
you.
later.
Bye.
Bye, Charlie.
Say bye, Charlie.